We all know Red Bull. But how did this story start? Austrian Dietrich Mateschitz was the co-founder and 49% owner of Red Bull GmbH. In April 2022, just a few months before his death, his net worth was estimated at $27.4 billion, and he was the richest Austrian at that time. He didn't come up with the composition of Red Bull, he didn't come up the name, or even the iconic slogan about giving wings, but he turned Red Bull into a marketing masterpiece. Long before Dietrich took over the world with Red Bull, he had pretty relatable backstory for a soon-to-be global marketing mastermind. First off, it took Mateschitz 10 years to earn his degree in business from the Vienna University of Economics and Business. While spending his decade as a career university student, he spent a good portion of that time working as a ski instructor to pay his bills. After graduating at 28, he spent the next 10 years as the international marketing director for a German hygiene manufacturer called Blendax. They sold toothpaste. Then, at the age of 38, something happened. In an interview with Duff McDonald of Bloomberg Businessweek, Dietrich explained his outlook at the time. All I could see were the same gray airplanes, the same gray suits, the same gray faces. All the hotel bars looked the same, and so did the women in them. I asked myself whether I wanted to spend the next decade as I'd spent the previous one. While contemplating the change he wanted in life, he went on a trip. He took a flight to Thailand in 1982, an experience that would change Mateschitz's life forever. Mandarin Oriental Hotel, Bangkok, 1982. Another day that should have been night. Another night that should have been a day. Didi's tired legs guided him, that's how it happened, to the hotel bar. He was already used to frequent traveling and living out of suitcases, but he couldn't get used to jet lag. Someone at the bar recommended him a sweet tonic that was supposed to get him back on his feet. It wasn't a liquid luxury up to the Mandarin Oriental standard or anything like that. The drink was popular primarily with Thai workers and truck drivers, but it was considered reliable. While suffering from jet lag, as the story goes, Dietrich was introduced to a bizarre working-class drink the locals loved called Krating Daeng, Thai for water buffalo. Krating Daeng had a cult-like following by Taiwanese truck drivers. It was invented by a former antibiotic salesman who owned a small pharmaceutical company, Chaleo Yoovidhya, who developed the original concoction as a low-priced alternative to coffee. Dietrich fell in love with the concept as a cure-all for jet lag, tiredness, and even hangovers. Dietrich came up with the idea to rebrand the product to a Western market. At the age of 40, he quit his job and started out on his own. In 1984, Mateschitz approached Yoovidhya and convinced him on the idea that the two should invest $500,000 each to establish a 49-49 partnership. The other 2 points went to Yoovidhya's son, with the plan to take the drink worldwide as dual partners. Mateschitz struggled for the first few years trying to get the proper international license to sell the drink in his home state of Austria. He lost over $1 million in 2 years just trying to get started. He still believed his idea would work, though, and made the decision to launch the brand to a different market. It took Mateschitz 3 years to perfect the energy drink recipe and develop a strategy. He translated the name into English and added the bubbles. He poured the drink into a slim can. However, the results of the first test turned out to be a disaster. Consumers didn't like it, didn't like the logo or name, and yet it was Red Bull that became the symbol of the energy drink and a money-making machine. The two then decided to introduce the product in Hungary, Germany, and the UK. With a revised product, Dietrich carbonated the drink and altered the taste and branding. They moved away from the Krating Daeng name. This was a pretty mission-critical stage of the journey. With no money left to invest in advertising, he had to borrow favors from friends to try to build a brand presence. Dietrich turned to a college friend who owned an ad agency. Johannes Kastners and his team developed the iconic blue and silver can emblazoned with the logo of 2 muscular bulls about to smash heads in front of a yellow sun. On spec, Johannes was also credited with the birth of the infamous slogan, "It gives you wings," which means that it provides skills, abilities, or the power to achieve anything you want. It's as much an invitation and call to action as well as a request to take on bold challenges. Taking his new brand positioning to another level, Mateschitz's strategy early on proved to be a brilliant one. Rather than promote the beverage itself, he immediately started to promote the lifestyle that he himself was lacking at the time: the freedom. Everyone values freedom, and Red Bull sponsored it through sports and activities wherever they could, inspiring others to pursue their dreams as well. Most of the early sponsored events they covered were all Dietrich's Austrian friends that were in his network. Red Bull then went on to sponsor exclusive and exciting events that got high volumes and, more importantly, free global media coverage. They sponsored over 500 extreme sports athletes who compete in special and often record-breaking events. Instead of creating a marketing department, Red Bull went on to create a media publishing house, Red Bull Media House, with the mission to inspire and fascinate people through sports. And their strategy was brilliant, triggering engagement through inspirational, awe-inspiring videos that naturally go viral with their fan base of adrenaline junkies, with their brand prominently displayed, of course. All the rest is history. Today, Red Bull is a global brand worth a fortune and known virtually all over the world. Determination, striving for a goal, belief in yourself and your product, these features made Dietrich Mateschitz not give up at the crucial moment and make Red Bull what the brand is today.